Hello and welcome to the Paranormal Diva episode 2. This is the first time I am going to actually interview someone. I sat down with my husband Scott and his sister Janelle so they could tell their story, which I always found so fascinating, about an interaction with probably what we would call the Grim Reaper. I believe them because I know them to be two people who wouldn't really create this or need that kind of attention. So the story's always fascinated me. I do want to apologize for my bad editing. I'm new at all of this, and the editing process is really hard. So I have a whole new respect for people who do that. There's some bumps and some glitches, and the story comes through. So oh well. I do want to say that my husband Scott has been very ill lately, diagnosed with a heart condition out of nowhere. And to have him talk about the Grim Reaper is probably in very poor taste. But the day before we did this video, he had a very successful heart surgery. So things are looking up for us. And, I know he probably did not feel like doing this, but he did it for me. And it's very appreciated. So send your good vibes and well wishes to Scott as he heals up. And probably this just jumped again, and there's a spot with horrible editing, so forgive me. But without further ado, here's Scott Shepard and Janelle Arnold to tell their story of the Grim Reaper.
We have a story to tell, a true story about one evening a long time ago, back in 1977. It was in the fall. It was just kind of a normal, nothing going on night, and I was getting ready to go out with a friend of mine, and we were going to just go to one of the local bars and have a few beverages, and we left relatively early, probably 8 o'clock or something. And we got there, and once I ordered my first and only beer of the evening, I started feeling bad really fast. And it wasn't like a sick from like rotten beer or anything. It was like I just felt really bad. It was like this sense of doom or something came over me, and it kept getting worse. So we had to go. I just had to go home. I said, I can't be here anymore. And so we left, and I went back home, and it wasn't getting any better. And by the time I did get home, I just said, I just got to go lay down. I feel terrible. So I went and I laid down, and once I I was laying there in the dark, and um, it started getting worse and worse. And it was the weirdest. It wasn't like any sick I've ever felt. It was just like there was, I was laying in bed and I could barely move, and I had this heaviness in my chest.
He wasn't feeling well when he got back with his friends, and he seemed to be really, really sick. And I felt his head, and I thought, this guy is burning up. And we weren't sure what to do, and he needed to go and lay down. So he did that. And in the meantime, we tried to find a thermometer. We couldn't find one. I called a nurse friend of mine who said, pack him in ice. So we made these little ice bags, and she said, put him on his groin, put him under his arms. We did all that. So he's laying there in bed, and he's got all these ice packs on him.
I don't remember a lot of that because apparently I was pretty out of it, and my fever was so high, and I probably wasn't I wasn't too coherent. But what I do remember is later on, it wasn't seeming, it didn't seem to be getting any better at all. And then I our bedrooms were, there was just a small little hallway between our bedrooms, and my door was open, and I looked up at my door at one point, and I actually saw this figure, and it was the classic traditional cloaked figure you've seen in many a movie. But I could see it, even though my light was off. I could see a silhouette of that, and at that point, I couldn't even scream. I couldn't do anything. And right then, my sister came running to my room and ran right through this thing, and it was gone. She ran through it, and within minutes, my fever went away. I felt, I felt normal again. I wasn't sick, and it was unexplained, and I'll never really know exactly what happened. But she was there, and her side of it, you can tell your side. What made you run into my room?
Yeah. Okay. So actually, we went to bed. He went to bed, probably slept for a couple hours. I set my alarm for 2 o'clock in the morning so that I could get up and check on his temperature and see if he was okay. And I remember before the alarm went off, I woke up and I looked over by his room, and it was like I could see the corner of his room as if there was no ceiling. And I saw this dark figure, which he explained it looked like the Grim Reaper. And it was hovering above this corner that I could actually see that was over his room. And I knew that it was going to kill my brother. So I remember laying there and thinking, take me, you can't have him. And I laid there for a long time and thought that, and he doesn't remember that he did scream. And I jumped out of bed and ran in there, and that's when everything, the figure disappeared, and he was all of a sudden feeling great. And we just sat there on his floor for the rest of the night and talked about what we actually saw and what it might mean. Saw the figure, and I knew what it meant. In my mind, I knew what it meant. And in Scott's mind, I guess, when he woke up, he saw it and knew what it meant. You thought you were going to die.
I actually did. I didn't even get to that part, but yeah,
Do that.
I thought, well, yeah, I thought, this is it. Death has come to claim me, and yeah, it was the eeriest feeling, obviously, that I've ever felt in my life.
But you both say when Janelle came in the room and walked through it, it dissipated and you instantly felt better.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
Crazy.
It is crazy.
I mean, that's
I know.
honestly crazy.
Yeah.
You had an attachment, I think, from that bar. Something in that bar attached to you, some death kind of thing, and went home with you.
Yeah, it must have. It was so weird. Neither one of us has ever felt anything like that before or really since, but
What did it feel like? Was there, I mean, obviously you were sick, but did you get any of the stereotypical like nausea, goosebumps, any reaction to being in the presence of that energy? Like, did you feel anything?
I was angry.
You got angry.
I was really angry because it wanted to take my brother. And
Yeah.
we've always been really close, and we were living together, and I just was going to fight it. And that's what I was laying there thinking, you can't take him, you can't take him. And then when he screamed, I ran in the room.
So you heard him scream. You thought you had sleep paralysis.
I don't even remember screaming. I remember being frozen. And I thought I wasn't able to scream, but apparently I was.
You did.
Yeah. Bizarre.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I got what I need. You guys can stop that if you want.
Thank you.